सलमान खान को 9/51 में दोषी मानते हुए 5 वर्ष की सजा और 10,000 रुपए जुर्माने से आरोपित किया गया है।
20 साल बाद अभी उनको ऐसा लग रहा है कि वो गिल्टी है, मगर लॉ है, टेक्स इट्स ओन कॉर्स, व्हाट कैन वन से। मगर लॉ है, टेक्स इट्स ओन कॉर्स, व्हाट कैन वन से।
जो खाना जेल में दिया जाता है, चने की दाल है, गोभी की सब्जी, पत्ता गोभी की सब्जी है और चपातियां हैं, वो उनको हम दे दिए। जैसे कमरा होता है वैसे कमरा है, नीचे कंबल है, पानी पीने के लिए घड़ा है।
It is not a something for which he should be sent. Even if he is sent, he should be granted a bail or something on this.
मेरे को अच्छा नहीं लगा, मैंने काम छोड़ दिया और सलमान खान को सजा नहीं होना चाहिए था।
पब्लिक को उसका इंतजार रहता है सलमान कब आएगा। पब्लिक जो जाती है मूवी देखने, तो मूवी नहीं देखती, सलमान को देखती है।
Watching the urban debate in Mirror now, Faye D'Souza, thank you for joining us. The big development today, Salman Khan sentenced to 5 years in prison in the Black Buck case. Immediately after that, we saw a hashtag trending called "We Love You Salman" as Bollywood put its muscle and its sympathy behind the now imprisoned movie star. Bollywood actors coming out to say and speculate that perhaps the sentence was too harsh, perhaps the sentence was unfair, oh, he does so much charity, oh, he's such a wonderful person. Here are the questions we're asking. I'm asking these questions of you. These are important questions for us to answer as citizens, because this is the country that we live in. Should celebrity of any sort play any role at all in our law and order system? There is one side of the argument you'll hear through the course of this show, which says basically that he got a harsh sentence because he's a celebrity. The other side of the argument will tell you that at least we know for sure the judiciary is not swayed by celebrity. Why is Bollywood putting its muscle behind Salman Khan, the obvious bad boy of Bollywood, who's been in and out of trouble for over a decade at this point? Is it fair, really, for celebrities to expect a leaner or a simpler ride because they donate money to charity, because they seem like they're generous? Does that put them above the law? That's the question we're asking this evening. Kavita?
Precisely, Faye, and in fact, you know, this is probably one of the few judgments that has seen this kind of public reaction. We've had people calling all through the day to the channel, and they've been talking about the judgment, and we've had a lot of fans. In fact, we heard people crying on air and hoping and really praying that Salman Khan gets off, and which is why very important to ask these questions of our panel today. With us are Mayank Shekhar, film critic, Anil Sharma, who is a film director and producer. Shailendra Singh will also be joining us in a bit. He's the film producer and he's also an entertainment maverick. In fact, he's one of the best people you can speak to about brands. We have Meet Ashar with us. He is the India spokesperson of PETA. Aniket Nikam, criminal lawyer. Satish Manashinde, also a senior criminal lawyer, who will join us in a bit. Faye.
Well, I'm going to take the question first to Mayank Shekhar, and of course I want to remind our viewers our phone lines are open, so if you want to call in and give us your opinion, whether it's for or against the sentencing at this point, please feel free to do so. Mayank, obviously Bollywood coming out right now in support of Salman Khan, but do you believe that that support is warranted at this point? Because there is a process of law and order that has taken place, and the court was very clear.
Well, more than support from the film industry, as it were, I think there are a whole lot of people who genuinely feel a certain way about Salman Khan, and that's how crowds, that's how masses, that's how mobs usually work. There are politicians who've not just been accused but also been convicted of murders in the past, who've then gone on to be re-elected, and people have loved them still, and then re-elected them yet again. So, so that emotion has nothing to do with logic or perhaps even legalities of what someone's done, what someone's not done. what cannot be entirely denied is that the judiciary has set an example in this particular case, because suddenly there's like national attention to a law that a lot of people may not have that much familiar with. They may not have been, in the sense of Wildlife Protection Act 1972. I don't know how many people have been convicted in that particular act. I don't know how many people knew about black buck, or a rare form antelope, as it were. So in a certain sense, yes, an example has been set that leads to a lot greater awareness. Yes, being a celebrity is a double-edged sword. At one level, you get the adulation of the public, which defies logic, and that's precisely what we're seeing in the case of Salman Khan and the public outpouring regarding his arrest today. But the other side of the same sword is the fact that you will be made an example of, and you need to be far more careful, because you are in the spotlight, and anything that you do will be heightened, whether negative or positive, and that's precisely where Salman stands in this particular case. It's been 20 years, I think 20 years knowing that it could go either way by itself can be a punishment of some sort, and well, the courts have decided on the basis of evidence that they have, so there is no question of arguing for or against a judgment that in the eyes of the law seems correct to the judiciary, and that's really where we stand.
Well, I also want to bring in Aniket Nikam at this point. Aniket, from the point of the judiciary, really celebrity makes absolutely no difference, or it shouldn't make any difference at all. What's your response to people saying that he got a harsher sentence because he's a celebrity, because he's being made an example of?
See, first of all, we need to understand that Salman Khan has been convicted under provision of Section 51 of Wildlife Protection Act. Now, this enactment itself provides that if a person is found guilty of an offence under this section, he could be convicted for a maximum period of 6 years. In this case, Salman Khan has been sentenced to 5 years. So it could not be said that it's a harsh form of sentence, because it is a sentence that is contemplated under the law, provided under the law. Now, what is important is that in our Indian legal system, everything whatever happens before a judicial court, everything is in the form of an impartial judicial system. The courts normally do not see who the accused is or what the strata of that accused is, but the court has to decide and give its judgment based on the evidence that is brought out before this court or before any other court of law. In this case particularly, it seems that the learned trial court has heavily relied upon the testimony of one single eyewitness, which is prosecution witness number 4. I had a chance to go through this judgment, which runs into around 200 pages. And it seems that the learned trial court has relied heavily upon the deposition and testimony of this prosecution witness number 4 in order to convict Salman Khan. So therefore, it could not be said that this is a harsh form of a sentence, because that is a sentence that is stipulated under the relevant act. The thing is, what is the option that is available to Salman Khan after this conviction, which he will be exercising in due course of time as provided in law.
Right. And, Faye, Mayank just now also spoke about emotion, and that is the reason we are seeing this kind of reaction. But let's also, for a bit, concentrate on this other equally strong emotion, which is what, in fact, has, kind of powered the Bishnois to fight for the last 2 decades, to fight for justice over the last 2 decades, because they are increasingly, extremely attached to the black buck, to wildlife, to forest life, to the environment. In fact, we have, of course, with us PETA representative Meet Asher. Meet.
I agree, because we all are thinking that, like a lot of people are saying that Salman got a harsher punishment or he has gone through a lot. Well, I beg to disagree, because we are not thinking what the black bucks went through 20 years ago. They were brutally killed just for entertainment. And it is a crime. It was a crime then. Now, the only difference is that the provision for imprisonment has been increased to 7 years. That time it was 6 years. And he has not been given the maximum, maybe because he is a celeb. Well, the other part is also that maybe the 2 black bucks which were killed had young ones, young kids, and maybe they got orphaned. So we should also look at that side of the story, where there is serious blatant violation of animal rights, and how just for the purpose of entertainment or for personal fun, animals were made a target and they were killed for no wrong reason. Also, it usually does not take 20
But, you know,
years.
I want to take this question over. Yes. Yes. I want to take this question over to Shailendra Singh as well, who joins us, film producer. Shailendra, the question really is simply this. And we will have Satish Manashinde, who joins us, who will tell us that perhaps this was too harsh because these were just animals. But the truth, and it boils down to the law. There is a prescribed law which has been broken, and under the prescribed law, the maximum sentence is 6 years. So 5 years is closer to the maximum, I agree, but it is within what was prescribed in the law.
Truly so, and I also believe that. I think all the debates that are going around nationally, I think they're divided in sort of the judgment and the emotions, and rightfully so. I think the nation truly believes that Salman Khan is an icon for the country, for Bollywood, etc. But the truth is that the judicial system took 20 years to prove him guilty, and for 20 years, I mean, if Salman was guilty, should he have confessed earlier and got on with life? And if he didn't choose to do so, then this dark day had to arrive. And I think somewhere, look, we can sit and criticize, the judge for giving him 5 years, 4 years, 6 years. But at the end of the day, it took 20 years for the judge to have the facts in place. He worked really hard, and he feels that this is the correct judgment for Salman Khan, and may it be so. And now Salman has the recourse of law again. So this whole saga just continues. But today I think we debate this because we are just in a state of shock. Bollywood and everybody else who loves Salman, how can this happen to Salman Khan? This is the reality. I mean, the law takes its course.
The law, in fact, does take its course. Mayank, obviously, a lot of support, and I want to specifically look at Bollywood. A lot of support coming in. Everybody saying yes. We hope that he gets reprieve from the trial court. We hope he gets bail. Where do you think that's coming from? What emotion is this? Because let's be honest, Salman Khan has been a bad boy of Bollywood. He's been in and out of these problem areas over several decades. Why is there still such a strong sense of support for him in Bollywood?
Well, I think, India is sort of connected at various different levels with Salman in his journey of, stardom and superstardom, to be honest. So, iconically, he has created an emotional connect with the characters that he plays on screen. And also, to be honest, knowing him for nearly 30 years, off the screen too, he's a great human being. He's a good guy, but his lifestyle, his habits, obviously made him do a few wrong things in his life, which are now catching up. And I think the people who have this really unconditional sentiment either know him or look at him as an icon, as a superstar that they want to just not believe that he can ever be caged or, you put behind bars. I think that's an emotional thing, and it's a good thing, because at the end of the day, Salman Khan does represent our nation through Bollywood to hundreds of countries across the world, and I think it's awesome. But he's also a human being who's lived a life which has its grey shades, and I guess the dark day in his life is now arrived.
Mayank, is it just that, or is it also the fact that Bollywood has around 600 to 700 crore rupees literally riding on Salman Khan?
No, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. If Salman Khan was not the top superstar right now and he was just someone who's a has-been in his early 50s, I don't think anyone would be tweeting about him, or even we would not be discussing this particular conviction either if it was like someone who was big in the 90s and then, has no work left with him. I think one needs to understand that the film industry is a very freelance industry, in the sense everyone works with the other. It's not as corporatized as one would like it to be. So, everyone in some form or the other would like to work with Salman, because that really makes it the big picture, the big, blockbuster film. So, you will have your, sympathizers, you will have people who support him because they genuinely like him. 2, they could curry favors, they could actually work with him. 3, he is one of the most popular guys in the business at the moment, as it were. But also, I think from the perspective of the public, I don't know how much sensitivity there is to wildlife protection in the first place. I don't know how much, as a people, how much we really care about one black buck who passed away. I don't know how much we care about human beings dying in the first place either. So I think a lot of that, has a role to play as well. The fact that our judgment is clouded by the fact that we love this guy and not think so much about one particular endangered species, and or however many black bugs there were, 2 or was it 4, chinkara, I mean both of them included. So I think there's one lack of sensitivity, and far more with human beings, and here of course we're talking about endangered species. And second is the fact that everyone wants to be Salman Khan's best friend. He is quite undoubtedly the biggest superstar right now.
Right. We seem to have some issues connected with Faye over there. We'll get her back in a bit. But Mayank, taking on from what you just said, the fact that he is one of the biggest superstars, very quickly, Shailendra, if you could, kind of fill us in on what next. Now, say, I'm just assuming over here, say that there is no bail that is granted tomorrow, and Salman Khan does go to jail, as the courts have said, for the next 5 years. Yeah. If that happens, what will happen in Bollywood?
Well, I just want to correct one number that you mentioned earlier, that there are 500 or 600 crores riding on him. I think that was incorrect. I truly believe, knowing this business, that he's got 3 blockbusters coming. He's got ample amount of endorsements, public appearances. He's got currently a national tour and a world tour of Dabang. He's got a TV show which he's signed up for, and as we know, he charges nearly 8 to 10 crores an episode. So his true value, and also the films now in India are not just working in India, they're working in China. And
let's not forget Being Human, the brand.
Yeah, Being Human, the brand, and the films are now grossing collectively 1,000 crores, etc., with all the digital rights, China and exposure in India. Beyond this, Salman Khan may be employing close to 30-40 lakh people because of his occupation at the top. So this actually sends huge sort of nervous moments across the whole industry. It affects just not him, it affects many people down the line. And to be honest, if he's granted bail, it could be that his Bollywood career is back to normal. Life is, he's back from jail, and oh God, Bhai is back. But I feel somewhere the brand will be fractured this time around, because the multinationals, the television channels, etc., certainly will be a bit wary to pay the kind of money, knowing that he's got a sword hanging on his head. So I think the brand will take a beating, but Bhai will be back whenever he's back from jail.
Brand will take a beating, but Mayank, we saw what happened with Sanjay Dutt. The brand essentially didn't take a beating. Monetarily maybe.
Well, I don't think we can make a fair comparison between Sanjay Dutt when he actually went to jail. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I don't think you can make a fair comparison between... Okay, there is no sound.
No, Mayank, we can hear you. Go on.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear. Please go on.
Oh, you can. Okay. No, I think the point at which Sanjay Dutt went to jail, and specifically where his career was at that point, in terms of his films, their box office collections, in terms of popularity in general that can be monetized, is very, very different from the kind of the stage that Salman Khan is in at this point, in terms of career, in terms of the revenues he's generating, not just from films but from endorsements and from television. He has lots of stuff, as Shailendra rightly mentioned. There's a lot of stuff lined up, which means a lot riding on him. Of course, in terms of not just the money, but the number of people who get projects as a result of it. So I think it's a much bigger jolt in terms of the film industry, Salman Khan being away for some time, as it was compared to when you compare it to Sanjay Dutt. I think Sanjay Dutt, was not in the best phase of his career back then. Of course, it did not affect him too badly when he came back, because there was some sort of apprehension, there's some sort of anticipation about him coming back and therefore being in a movie. He did Bhumi, which was his first film after his return from jail, but it still doesn't count as like this mega blockbuster film. But I think Salman is riding a major wave at this point, and certainly is a much bigger star now than Sanjay Dutt was when he left for jail.
Right, let me bring in Anil Sharma here. Anil, I'm going to actually boil this down to one straight question. We're setting an example right now for the rest of the country. Here is an individual who has been found guilty by a court of law and sentenced to prison. Where is Bollywood's conscience here in such an outpouring of public support, what message are we sending out to the rest of the country? That it's okay to break the law? That it's okay to break the law if you're a celebrity? If you've broken the law and you are a celebrity, and we really root for you and we hope that you never go to jail. Is that the message that Bollywood is sending to the rest of the country? That if you're rich, if you're famous, if you're a superstar, then you're above the law. No, and we hope that you never have to pay for the sins that you committed or for the crime that you committed.
Nobody is above the law. Neither Bollywood is sending this kind of a message.
Anil?
Bollywood is very clear. In fact, I am very much clear that if somebody has done... Hello, are you listening to me?
Yes, Anil, go
Hello?
on. Yes, Anil, you're
Are you listening?
Go on,
yes, go ahead, please.
Are we connected?
Yes, Anil, go on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Anil,
can you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you. Go on.
Hello? Yeah. So what I am trying to tell you, that my personal feeling is this: if you are guilty, you are no above the law. You need to get punishment. But this is the other side of the law, and the other side of a person is that you are a popular, you are lovable, everybody loves you, like I love Salman Khan, like me, many people loves him. So we have really this kind of a feeling that he should get bail, he should not get punishment. That is what the emotional feelings are all over India and all over world with the Salman Khan. That is those since morning it is happening. It's an emotional trauma to the Indian people. They feel sometimes why it is happening with this guy when this guy is so good, such a big star, and people loves him so much. So people feel really misery about him and about the situation. So they're the two different conditions. People are busting out their emotions. It does not mean they don't believe in law. Whether they are in Bollywood or whether they are in normal life, and the second thing, whatever Mayank has said, I'm absolutely agreeing with him that so much is riding on Salman Khan, and physically, mentally, that can affect a lot of people. That is also one other question.
Right.
So I feel, certainly I feel that tomorrow he should get bail and things get better. I'm really having, I'm not supporting the killing the black buck, it means.
Right. We're getting a couple of viewers who are calling in now. Right. Anil Sharma.
Tomorrow and...
Right. Anil Sharma, let's go across to our viewer. Shayan Jain has called in from Delhi. Shayan goes to our viewer. Shayan Jain has called in from Delhi. Shayan, go on.
My basic question is, there were 4 cases around him. 3 he was acquitted for. 4th he has been convicted for. And, you know, suddenly he'll go to the next court and the version could be opposite of this. What are we doing in this nation that this man can be acquitted again? And why these cases have been hanging for 20 years, 20 damn years? And can a normal person wait for that kind of time? Can I be given that much of time by the Indian law or anybody to prove myself innocent? Absolutely. In 20 years, everything gets dismantled, everything gets erased. People get changed.
Right. Valid.
Today
Very valid.
This man is fine. He's a perfect person. Was he that the same person 20 years ago? Was he a big brand 20 years ago? He was struggling with a career. Today he's a brand. He's a name.
Right.
We are giving that sympathy to that brand.
Right. Valid point. Let's take our next caller. Radhika Shetty is called in from Mangalore. Radhika?
I would like to see that the court makes an example of him by not granting bail. You are a celebrity, yes. You got away for 20 years, yes. But enough. We common people will not have faith in a judicial system if he gets bail tomorrow. Whether it's 100 crores, 200 crores, 1,000 crores, we don't care. But I just want to see him pay because there's karma. And if not today, he has to do it tomorrow. And I'm happy that there's something called as divine justice. Because you may scrape through with the legal system. Anything can be bought or sold.
We have...
Right, Faye, go on.
Right, we have Satish Manishinde, senior criminal lawyer who joins us right now. Satish, thank you. Mr. Manishinde, thank you for joining us. Tell us why what is your response right now to the fact that Salman Khan is spending the night in jail?
Salman Khan has been sent on a 5-year term for killing a black buck, which according to me is a very harsh punishment compared to the facts of the case, because if you see the Upahar case, if you see the Calcutta hospital fire and burning case, if you see various other cases that have happened in the country, they have been sent to a punishment 2 years to 3 years. So in such a case, if Supreme Court thinks that 2 years or 5 years is enough, when more than 10 to 15 people or 50 people in the Upar case have been killed or met with death, I don't see why in a black buck case where it's not as heinous or as serious as those compared to other cases. Apart from that, merely because he's a celebrity.
Right, Mr. Manishande, are you questioning the court at this? Why do you believe he received a harsh sentence?
I'm questioning.
Why do you believe that Salman Khan has received a harsh sentence?
I don't know the facts of the case on the basis. No, I don't believe that somebody who is guilty should not be punished. The facts of the case would be before the judge and he is entitled to punish a person. But 5 years for such an offence is too harsh, particularly in view of the fact that day in and day out animals are slaughtered all over the country. Day in and day out so many murders take place. Such offences are not dealt with so seriously.
No, hang on. Animals are not slaughtered all over the country. This was a protected species. This is wildlife. There's a complete difference. I'm sorry, you cannot belittle what happened in this particular case. Meet Asher is the India spokesperson of PETA. Do you want to explain to Mr. Manishande what the difference is?
Absolutely.
Between a black buck and a goat?
Absolutely.
Before 1971, it was not as serious as it's being made out. And it was a sport which was practiced by all the Maharajas.
It is an endangered
Mr. Manishande, before dowry was made illegal, at that point also it was not heinous and now it is. But the law is the law. Now, Meet Asher, why is there a difference between slaughtering a goat and killing a black buck? Please explain.
Well, the provisions under law are different. PETA believes that all animals should be treated with compassion, but the law are different for different animals. Black bucks are extremely endangered, almost on the verge of extinct species, and the law for them is different. Mr. Manishande may think that it is not a very serious offense, but with due respect to him, that's his perception. The law has a different provision altogether for Wildlife Protection Act, and the Wildlife Protection Act clearly makes it a non-bailable offense. I would also like to point out here that for Salman's case, it took 20 years. But for poachers in Assam, it took only 14 months for the conviction, and they were sent to 7 years for rigorous imprisonment. Here it's only 5 years, but it's not rigorous imprisonment. We are not looking at that angle. There was another case from Washim in Maharashtra, where a langur was mercilessly beaten to death. The main accused has been denied bail 5 times, including from the Bombay High Court. So it's not that only Salman Khan is facing all this. It's just because only Salman Khan's case is in limelight and the others are not. Well, everybody is being treated under the law equally. We feel that Salman Khan was not, because it took 20 years. He has time and again got bail, and he has basically done what he wanted to do, and even now there are chances that he may get bail because of the battalion of lawyers that he has.
Right. Shailendra Singh, you wanted to make a point.
Yeah, I just had a question for Satish, my friend, that, you know, you made a point, and I think most of the nation must be agreeing with your point of view, but as a citizen, just a simple question that, do you think the judiciary or the judge maybe gave this harsh punishment, which the country believes, and even you believe that it was really harsh, because Salman denied the offense for 20 long years, and the entire judiciary system had to work relentlessly hard for 20 years to prove that he was guilty? Maybe if Salman had admitted to his crime earlier, he could have, you know, got off easier. Because I think the nation wants to know, because you're a senior advocate, and I think the country listens to what you say. So harsh, soft, all that is not within our hands. But you think the fact that Salman, you know, played around, you know, he took his time, possibly, that the law caught up and said, no, this person has wasted 20 years of the judiciary system, he should be given a strict punishment. You think it could have happened like that?
Yeah.
You see, first of all, when an accused goes before a court, he is not called upon to admit his guilt straight away, and it is for the prosecution to prove its case. If all the accused who are paraded before a court of law plead guilty, I don't think any case in our country would be pending for such a long time. Number one. Number two, if a case has been decided after a period of 20 years, it is not Salman's fault. It is the fault of the government, which has not created the number of vacancies, which has not filled up the number of vacancies. There are more than 40 to 50% of judges who are not appointed in the lower courts. Apart from that, the case of mounting arrears has not been addressed by the government. Thirdly, the law commissions, various law commissions have recommended that the number of judges should be increased, the legal infrastructure should be improved. From the time of independence till now, there has not been a very significant increase in the number of judges. There has not been a significant increase in the budgetary allowances made for the judicial system. There is no concern for a common man's need. And it is ultimately the poor man who goes to a court.
Let me bring in Aniket Nikam as well.
The cases are pending.
Okay.
It's not Salman who is to be blamed if the case is pending for 20 years.
Let me bring in Aniket Nikam. Aniket, the hit and run case aside in which Salman Khan was acquitted, Aniket, there were also two other cases of chinkara poaching, and this is the one case of black buck poaching. So this is not a one-off. This is not an accident. This is obviously something that comes up repeatedly. So where is the room then for the argument of leniency in any case? If the maximum sentence is 6 as per the provision of the law, and he's been awarded 5, where is the argument for leniency for someone who's already had 2 cases against him in this particular... yeah.
You are bang on point. In fact, the learned trial court in its judgment has observed that Salman Khan has been previously convicted in 2 cases of chinkara killing. Though the conviction has been set aside by the High Court and he has been acquitted, but it seems that he has a criminal record. Now we need to understand and we need to differentiate with utmost respect to the opinion expressed by Mr. Manish Shinde. Upahar case was different. It was a case of negligence. On the contrary, the case of Salman Khan is of culpable intention, and with that culpable intention committing murder of a endangered species with his armed or unarmed license weapon. Therefore, this cannot be equated with a case of negligence, because it is observed in the learned trial court's order that he had every intention to commit that offence, and with that intention he has committed that offence. That is number one. As far as the aspect of leniency is concerned, while addressing the court on the point of leniency, it was argued before the learned trial court, as it is reflected in the judgment, that he comes from a good background, that he doesn't have any criminal record, fresh criminal record against him. However, as you rightly said, since he was previously convicted in 2 cases of chinkara, it could not be said that this is one-off incident. It seems that there is a trend to this. And learned trial court in its wisdom has awarded a sentence of 5 years, which the learned trial court must have thought is fit in the facts and circumstances of this case.
Right. In fact, Aniket, I would also like to ask you...
Absolutely. And so it actually just boils down to the... It boils down to the letter of the law. Satish Manishinde, how do you respond to this? There were 2 cases of chinkara poaching before this black buck poaching. There was the hit and run case before that. This is an individual who's constantly in and out of trouble. Where is the argument for leniency then, Mr. Manishinde?
Well, I'm not asking for any leniency. I'm saying that merely because offence is punishable with 7 years, there is no reason to send him to jail for 5 years merely because he is a celebrity, or merely because there were 2 cases pending against him. Those cases, though he was convicted, the High Court has set him free and he has acquitted him. So as of now, there is no conviction against him of any prior case. Even in the hit and run case, he has been acquitted by the High Court. So there is no case of any pendency of conviction against him. So you're suggesting that he got a stricter sentence because he's a celebrity? To consider, one minute, don't interrupt. There is no pending case against him where there is a conviction has been imposed. So therefore, I don't think those 3 cases which are pending in the higher courts should be considered at this moment. Unless there is a prior history of conviction, no trial judge can take into that consideration.
Can I come in?
Yes, please.
If there was no, what he's saying, that the High Court has acquitted Salman Khan in the 2 cases, but the same 2 cases have been admitted by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court could have dismissed it and rejected the admission. When the Supreme Court has accepted it and admitted it, that means that there is some content in the case. And that's the only reason why Supreme Court has admitted the plea. And it cannot be ignored that he has committed this offense in the past. Well, being human, one cannot be human when he does not have compassion for animals, because they are soft targets. Like some people have the opinion that celebrities are soft targets. Animals are way soft targets than celebrities are, and everybody is being treated equally under the law. He's not been given any harsh punishment because he's a celeb. He could have been given 6 years. He should have been given 6 years because he was a repeat offender, and it should have been a rigorous imprisonment and not a normal imprisonment.
Right. And in fact, you know,
First of all, somebody who is practicing
Mayam
law
Shekhar, do you
courts-
agree to that?
Excuse me, can I come in here, please?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
You see, if a case which is in the nature of a conviction has been turned down and an acquittal order has been passed by a high court, the normal substantive appeal is a matter of right. That such a appeal is admitted as a matter of course. That is a practice in the Supreme Court, and that is confirmed by the rules. It is called as a substantive appeal. So therefore, statutory appeal. Therefore, people should not merely come to a conclusion that merely because the Supreme Court has admitted an appeal, there is a likelihood of some conviction being considered while he is being tried for some other offense. Merely because an appeal is pending in the Supreme Court, nobody should even consider that it is a prior history of a person who can be said to have a habitual offender's tag. So merely because the case is pending in the Supreme Court, nobody should come to a conclusion, least of all a trial court, of taking into consideration while punishing him in a case like this. And those two cases are pending after an acquittal by the High Court. As far as the accident case is concerned, that is also pending after an acquittal by the High Court. They are all as a matter of rule. So nobody should jump to a conclusion and make an allegation against Salman that he has a prior history.
Well, I want to bring in Mayank Shekhar here. Mayank, you know, the argument that he's received a harsher sentence because he's a celebrity, I find that argument fairly dangerous, because it suggests that the court was actually biased negatively by his celebrity. Do you agree that he's being made an example of, or that he's received a harsher sentence because he's famous?
Well, I do believe that this particular act, Wildlife Protection Act, and what he's really been charged with, killing a black buck, both these things would not have been known to a lot of people if Salman Khan was not the face behind it. Is he the only person who's ever gone hunting in this country? Probably not, but we know far more about it. So in a certain way, I don't even think there's something wrong with it when you set an example through a celebrity to make a cause, because there isn't that much sensitivity towards wildlife protection in this country in general. There is far less towards human beings to begin with. But at the same time, what can not be denied is, and he's not the first person either, who's rich, who's famous, who has the money to have a battery of lawyers to extend a case over 20 years. Sometimes the case of the supposed hit and run case, I mean, apparently a human being died, but no one killed him. That's really what happened at the end of that particular matter. So there is that element too, which cannot be denied. And I mean, there were a couple of examples given in this debate about the person, for instance, who killed a langur and is languishing in jail already, or another case where in 14 months, as the gentleman pointed out, he went straight to jail, whereas this one could be dragged on for those many years, because there are really wealthy lawyers and really influential lawyers you can hire, and that Salman Khan can, and a lot of citizens who don't have that kind of access to wealth cannot, which is not to say that he's not spent a lot of money in this case to begin with, but that's a recourse that's available to everyone. And of course there is a bias in terms of the kind of lawyers you can engage. depending on how rich you are. So it's both ways, I think. At one level, yes, I think as an example has been set because we know about this case over 20 years. And on the other, well, you know what, he can engage the best guys for this case.
Right,
a lot of people who are probably,
let me get in a caller over here. V. Narayan has called in.
Mayank,
hold on to that thought. Let's get in a caller. V. Narayan has called in from Mumbai. Go on, Narayan.
Good evening. The thing is, you know, I don't have any issues with all your important panelists. The thing is, why discriminate between ordinary citizen, Aam Aadmi, and a celebrity?
Absolutely.
When the law is absolutely the same, why should we have two different approaches to it?
Right. Right, precisely the point that we've been raising. Thank you for...
There is no discrimination.
Right, V. Narayan. In fact, you know, Faye, there is this other argument that is doing the rounds, and which is equally important to kind of dwell on. I would like both our legal minds to, you know, essentially weigh in on that matter. The fact that a lot of people and a lot of legal people who've lawyers who we spoke to told us today that because Salman Khan has been doing such a lot of social work, like you pointed out in the beginning of the show, and he actually has become such a good human being, he should probably be given a lighter sentence. Is that grounds enough to reduce somebody's sentence? Satish Manashinde.
Well, Kavita, let's be honest about all of these arguments that we've heard through the course of the day. These are people who want to curry favor in the largest camps of Bollywood. They want work in Bollywood. They want work on the films. They want work with the producers who work in this camp. We know that the film industry is split into camps, and there's an entire camp that backs Salman Khan because there's a lot of money riding on it. This is all about money. How is this an argument? Aniket Nikam, how is it an argument that if I give money away to charity, it makes me a good human being who shouldn't receive a sentence for breaking the law? The law is the law. It doesn't matter what kind of charity anybody does, Aniket.
See, that is absolutely right. Law is law, and when you commit an offence, you must be dealt with stern hands, and you must be brought to justice. That's one point. But while arguing in court of law, we also see that leniency is sought when it is argued that after having committed the offence, the man has redeemed himself. The man has realized his mistake. He has done a lot of good work for the society. He has done a lot of good work by way of charity, and therefore a chance must be given for him. So in order to rectify whatever has been done, which could not be undone now, but since it has happened, he has all regret for it, and since the good work that he has done in the society now, some leniency must be shown to him. So that is an argument of leniency that is advanced at every stage. Whenever any accused is convicted, it is brought out before the court as to his conduct. Even in case of Sanjay Dutt, this conduct was brought out on record to show that Sanjay Dutt has redeemed himself and he is no longer what he used to be, and therefore a lenient view must be taken. So that is the legal approach that lawyers and their clients in general take, and there is nothing wrong about it. But in this case, you have to also understand that, and I'm just dwelling into the merits of this case for a moment, that Salman Khan basically has been convicted, and the other co-accused persons, the other accused persons have been acquitted, who were charged for having committed the offence of sharing a common object with Salman Khan. Now, in order to acquit these other actors, the learned trial court has disbelieved the testimony of the sole eyewitness, which is prosecution witness number 4. However, while convicting Salman Khan, he has placed heavy reliance upon his version. Therefore, it seems that while giving the benefit of doubt to the co-accused persons, the version of this eyewitness is disbelieved. However, in order to convict Salman Khan, his version is believed. That is one point. Secondly, this prosecution witness number 4 says that he's witnessed this incident at 1:30 in the night. This incident happened in the intervening night of 1st and 2nd of October 1998. He witnessed this incident at 1:30 in the night. However, he does not say whether there was any source of light in order for him to see the faces of the persons who were in that jeep. He only says that it was pitch dark, and when this incident happened, I saw these actors in that jeep. However, since there was no light, nor there was any mentioning of any source of light being present there, how one could see at such pitch dark, in such pitch dark, as to who was traveling the jeep and who was doing what? Therefore, these are all points which will be raised by Salman's lawyer in his appeal, which will be heard tomorrow. But since it's a short-term sentence of 5 years, Normally a short-term sentence is awarded, the accused normally gets the benefit of bail because while he was on bail, he has not misused his liberty. That is what the argument which will be advanced for the hearing of his bail tomorrow.
Right. Let me also bring in Satish Manashinde. Mr. Manashinde, what happens now? What are the courts that will that he will appeal to? How much long and how long will this appeal take? If the next court decides to grant him bail, when will Salman Khan walk out of that jail, in your opinion?
Okay, now have you finished? Yeah. First of all, you had asked me an earlier question whether it is whatever he has done in his life should be taken into consideration. Now, ours is a reformative system and not a retributive system. Therefore, all over the world, suspended sentences are awarded to people who are likely to improve in the society and, rectify their mistakes. And particularly, since the incident has taken place about 20 years back, Salman should be given a chance to rectify what he has done, and that the appeal court will consider. As far as the number of days or years that the appeal is going to take for its final disposal, Salman is going to appeal to the Sessions Court after his conviction, and that is going to take at least 5 to 10 years in the first appellate court because of the pendency of the cases. I told you earlier that 40% of the judges' posts are lying vacant, so there's no likelihood that the appeal will be decided much earlier. But as far as his bail application is concerned, it can be heard either tomorrow or whenever the district judge places the matter for hearing. And because he has been on bail for the last 20 years, there's no likelihood of his absconding from justice or not being available if a punishment is awarded to him. And there's no question of tampering of evidence because all the witnesses have been examined and there's nothing much to be done as far as the witnesses are concerned or the investigation is concerned. And particularly in view of the fact that he's available all through and there is no misuse of his conditions, I think he should be granted bail, and pending the appeal, he will continue to be on bail, and then thereafter, as and when the appeal court decides his case, he will appear before the court. And I don't see this entire, procedure right up to the Supreme Court being disposed of.
And neither would a common man get this prerogative in court. It wouldn't be accepted that he has realized his mistake and he would do what good he can in his capacity, which Salman Khan is doing in his own capacity. So a common man would not get to get away like this, but Salman Khan would, because only because he is a celebrity.
The same leeway, yeah.
I don't know where the gentleman
we have to end this conversation here because we've run out of time, but in conclusion, it just boils... Right, we have to wrap up this conversation. It just boils down to one thing. It boils down to celebrity, to how much money is riding on the shoulders of this one celebrity, and how many people are willing to come forward and stand in his corner and say, we believe he should walk free in spite of the fact that he broke the law. Now, here's what it boils down to, viewers. It doesn't matter what the nature of the crime is, because there is a punishment prescribed if found guilty. So the argument that Mr. Manishinde was putting forward was that this is not as heinous as a different crime or a bomb blast or a murder. This is just the killing of an animal. Animals are killed all the time. Why do we have to send him away for 5 years? Well, the answer to that argument is that this is not just an animal. This was an endangered species protected by the law. On murder of that endangered species was a sentence of 6 years. 5 of those is what has been awarded to Salman Khan. It's very likely that one of the higher courts that he appeals to over the next couple of days will in fact grant him bail. But in the meantime, here is a clear message being sent out by the court today, that you are not above the law, irrespective of who you are, how much money is riding on your shoulders, and how famous or powerful your friends may be. If you have broken the law, even if it is, according to some of your friends, only just an animal, the law is the law. And when you break the law, you will see the inside of a jail cell. That's the message the courts have sent us today, and it is a message we would all do well remembering. Thanks for watching.